Hello everyone! A few days ago, Mod released their new HUD customization feature, and after a little bit of community testing, some bug fixes and minor improvements, I think it's now in a state where it makes sense to show how it works and some of the things you can do with it. I think this feature is genuinely really cool. Your HUD is something you are looking at constantly while playing the game, so having this level of control over it is really nice. But the system is also fairly detailed and some of the features aren't immediately obvious, so let's see how it works. Since the Hud Customizer is still in beta, you need to enable it in Steam. Right-click Mod, select Properties, Game Versions and Betas, and then checkmark the according thingy. In the game itself, there's two ways to open the customizer. Either via the tab menu, so press tab and then there's a button at the bottom left, or via the console. Type mom_HUD customizer enable 1 and that also opens it. Now create a new preset and now we see this whole list of options. First, to move a HUD element, either drag and drop it with right click or select it in the list and then move it with left click. The most general options are in the HUD Customizer settings section at the bottom of the list. The default styles here apply to the entire UI, so this is the quickest way to make wide-reaching changes. So for example, if I change the font color here, it applies that to all fonts, but if I then specifically change the font color of the speedometer, it will override that. All of the settings are specific to your current preset, and that preset is specific to your current game mode. You can, however, share settings between different presets and game modes by using this page button, so you don't have to redo 1,000 settings every single time. So for example, if I change the font color here and then share it with this bhop preset, and then go on a bhop map, it has changed there too if that preset is selected. You can also share entire presets with other players. The presets are stored in a specific folder with these kv3 files, and you can just copy a kv3 file there to get that preset. Most of the other settings in the customizer are fairly self-explanatory, so I'll only go through the ones that aren't so obvious. First, for the position/angle thing at the top, you have to have cl_show pause enabled in the console. For surf, this one is of course super niche. Safeguard indicator protects you from accidentally resetting a run by fat fingering. You can change its settings in the console with mom_safeguard_hold time and min run time. The chat currently isn't fully customizable, at least not the color and the font. There's some weird programming reasons for that. In the speedometer, there is this subsection called events. This is basically for some custom speedometers you can enable in the options, like a jump speedometer. For key presses, I'd say their main use case is usually to analyze replays, but there are some interesting ways to incorporate them into your main HUD as well. In this HUD, for example, they light up when jumping and crouching, and the crouch indicator turns red when crouch is forced on a ramp. Also, it has these big arrows lighting up when pressing a turn bind. The spectating menu is the one at the top when you're spectating or watching a replay, so better don't turn that off. And then the static menu and tab menu currently do nothing. And then there's of course the game-specific things like the strafe trainer. What exactly you can do with those and how important they are naturally depends a lot on the game mode. And that about covers the basic functions to give you a brief overview. Some features are of course still missing, and here and there you'll encounter a bug, but overall I'd say it already works quite nicely, and it's definitely worth spending some time with it to personalize your interface. You can find all of the HUDs shown in this video on the Momentum Discord, and probably a lot more in the future, and there's also a feedback thread for any suggestions, bug reports, and so on. I also put some useful console commands for the HUD in the video description. Lastly, if you saw or heard something interesting in this video, leave a like or a comment and consider subscribing. See ya!